And here is our representative, Tzipi, Broza, was born in Michigan and made Aliyah at the age of 3. Welcome. I have to tell them who you are. In Israel, Tzipi was raised in Moshav Sde Nitzan in the Eshkol region, where her parents were among the founding members. During her army service, Tzipi was part of the Masorti conservative kibbutz Harathon program in the Nahal Union. Later, she studied at the Hebrew University and majored in psychology and education. She is now about to complete her MA in Administration and Education at Ben-Gurion University in the Negev. Today, Tzipi is back in Sde Nitzan with her husband Yoram and their 4 children, aged 15, 13, 10, and 6. She teaches at the local elementary school and is an active member in the Eshkol, Mexico, Northeastern New York Partnership Together Steering Committee. And by the way, that school would be the envy of any teacher who went to see what kind of a school they have there. It's awesome. Welcome.
Hi. Okay, so I've prepared a few remarks about what we've been going through here lately, and then you'll be able to ask me questions, right?
Right.
Okay, great. So, well, like she said, I've been living in Eshkol since I was 3 years old. My parents were Zionists. They still are. They still live here also. And after the army and university, I moved back here with my husband, and now we have 4 children. My youngest son was actually born a week before Operation Cast Lead. His brit almost got canceled because of the operation, and in 2 weeks he's supposed to be going into 1st grade. My other 3 children, my oldest daughter is going into 10th grade, my second daughter is going to 8th grade, and my older son is going into 5th grade. I'm an elementary school teacher. I teach at the same school where my children learn, my younger ones. Since for the last more than 7 years, Eshkol was targeted by Qassams, and we've been dealing with Qassams for more than that in Israel, but in Eshkol, in the area where I live, on Moshav Sde Nitzan, for a little bit more than 7 years. When the first Qassam hit a house about a half a mile from where I live, they closed our school and transferred all the elementary school and the students to an army base about a half an hour away because they didn't really know how to protect us. And after about 2 months, summer vacation started, and at the end of summer vacation, we came back to our old school. And since then, they've been building shelter rooms onto each classroom. Every homeroom has a shelter room attached to it, which is about 4 by 4 yards in size. And we're supposed to get the kids to run in there with a little bit less than 15 seconds from the warning till when all the children are supposed to be in that room. Resilience is very important to us in Eshkol. That means that we don't feel weak, and we try to give our children also the feeling that we're strong and that we can deal with whatever we get handed. So usually when there's more turmoil, the schools stay open, the nursery schools stay open, the kindergartens, everything stays open, and parents are encouraged to send their kids to school. Of course, not all of the parents do, because some people react differently than others, and some people are more worried, so they keep their kids close by. Usually during those times, we have regular learning and also more activities that are supposed to reduce stress, like more arts and more. We also get people from out of the area to come and do special activities for the kids so that they're feeling like it's fun to go to school even though it's stressful. Okay, during this summer we've had Operation, what's it called in English?
Protective edge.
Yeah, preparedness. Protective edge, right? Okay. So during Protective Edge, my family and I, for most of the time, we've been at home. Sdenitan, the Moshav where I live, is a little bit more than 7 kilometers from the border, so that would be about, I don't know, 4 miles, 5 miles, something like that. So we don't actually get mortar shells on our community, on our Moshav, but there are in the area, and we've had a lot of soldiers come and be in the area, and a lot of noise. We hear, from where I live, I hear all of the artillery going on. I hear everything they're shooting at us and everything we're shooting back. We hear the Iron Dome shooting. We hear the tanks. We hear the airplanes. We hear the Qassam missiles, of course. We get alerts. My 3 younger children have been sleeping in the shelter room that's on our house since the beginning of July. Even now when we're in a ceasefire, the kids feel safer there and they want to sleep there. My older daughter decided she doesn't want to sleep there this time, so she sleeps in her own room, but it's like, I don't know, 4 feet away, so she can run. What else? Well, most of the time we've been staying home. We've had all kinds of different day trips that were organized by Eshkol region, like take the kids to the zoo or take them to the museum, like get them out. On our Moshav we have a swimming pool, and we experienced twice where my youngest son was swimming and there was an alert and we had to get him out of the pool within 15 seconds. Of course, we didn't manage that within 15 seconds, but thankfully nothing fell near us, so we're fine. And now, about 3 weeks ago, we got a shelter set at the pool so that we can continue our community life as if it's normal. We painted the shelter bright colors. There's like a big sun drawn on it and popsicles and like summer kind of decorations, like grapes and stuff like that. Make it feel happy. And we try and go on with our regular life. My husband works in Eshkol, so he drives to work every day. And during this past operation, he's had days with 5 or 6 alerts during his work day where he had to go to a safe room and then go back to work and continue. And the thing he says is the scariest thing is the drive to work and home from work, because once he's at home, everything's fine, and once he's at work, he feels everything's fine. But on the road, on the way, it's scary because you listen to the radio and you hear alerts as you go. They tell you on the radio, they keep announcing where there's an alert. And he said he had days where he was driving to work and every intersection he got to, he would hear on the radio that the next intersection is having an alert right now. And he kept like missing the alerts, or on his way home stopping for alerts and getting out of the car and lying by the road for a minute or two and then getting back in and driving on, stuff like that. But that's it really. We've had a lot of soldiers, and we've also been very involved in supporting the soldiers and helping the soldiers. Not that the IDF doesn't take care of the soldiers, because they do. The soldiers really get everything they need, but we have to stay in our community hall on the Moshav. And these are older soldiers, like not 18, 20-year-olds, but people with families who came into the army on duty just for this purpose. So we wanted to make them feel appreciated, because we really do appreciate them coming to protect us. So we had different days when they would announce on the Moshav WhatsApp group that bring cakes tonight, bring salads tonight, like make them a Friday night dinner, a Shabbat meal, things like that for the soldiers, and also organize laundry day for the soldiers, things like that, so that they would feel they were appreciated, because we wanted to show our gratitude to them because they came in and felt like they were protecting us.
We have time for 5 minutes of questions.
Yeah, questions.
5 minutes worth. Anyone who has questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions to ask her?
Sure. Have people in the Eshkol region been able to go about their normal jobs for the most part during this last month?
It depends where. Where I live, most of the people have been able to go on their jobs, but friends of mine who live in the region but live closer to the border, I have a close friend who lives in Kibbutz Sufa, and in Kibbutz Sufa, for example, they're situated about a mile or a mile and a half maybe from the border. The kibbutz was mostly empty. Anyone who wasn't with a necessary job left. Like people who run the security there stayed behind. People who run the factory there, which is like an important factory, stayed behind. But all the wives and children left. My friend moved to Tel Aviv area where her mother lives with her kids, moved into her mother's apartment and stayed there for a month. Another friend who lives there, her husband works in the security, so he kept telling her, go visit your sister, and she kept saying, I want to be at home with the kids, so it was like back and forth, and she experienced some very stressful moments. I don't know if you heard about, there was a night where a tunnel with Hamas terrorists was like right next to their kibbutz, and terrorists came out, and they had a power outage also that night, and she was in her shelter room with her 4 sons, and they couldn't breathe because the air conditioner wouldn't work because of the power outage, so she was trying to decide whether to leave the door open and have air or leave the door closed and feel safe, so she was like, open it for 10 minutes, close it again, stuff like that. So some people have had pretty stressful times. For me, it was relatively easy. Also because I'm a school teacher and we were on summer break, so I was on break. But other friends of mine who have jobs that are not in the education system had to continue work. Another friend of mine who works in the area just announced at work she's leaving because she lives in a house that doesn't have a shelter on it. And she took her children and went up north also to visit relatives for 2 weeks and just told her job that she's not going to be there for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, she had to come back, so she left her children at her parents' house up north and came back without her kids because she had to continue working. So it kind of depends on how far you are from the border. The closer you are to the border, the less regular your life was. Another friend of mine runs a small bakery, and she lives in Yesha, which is about 2.5 miles from the border. She doesn't have a shelter on her bakery, so she was too frightened to stay there all day and work. So she closed her bakery for the last month, and hopefully she'll be opening next week on Monday.
Besides the tunnel you mentioned, were there other tunnels discovered in the region?
This has to be the last question. We're on tight schedule.
There were a few tunnels discovered in the region, but
2 more questions.
we don't know about all the tunnels, but the Army said they uncovered like 30 tunnels, so.
7 tunnels.
7 tunnels in the
Yeah,
region.
you
but
only
they-
sent them out, yeah. 7
Yeah,
We're thinking of you.
thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can I ask something else?
No.
I want to add something. Can I add something?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay. Being that I'm a school teacher and we're preparing for the new school year, which is supposed to start September 1st, we've been, first of all, they're trying to prepare the school physically because during the operation or the war, whatever you want to call it, they couldn't get a lot of work people to get the school up to to be in a good state to get the students to come in September 1st, like paint the walls, fix things that are broken, plant new plants, things like that. So now we have 2 weeks of a lot of physical work to get everything ready. And along with that, we're getting, also as teachers, we're getting guidance as to how to re-accept the students into school and have them come in a way that will be positive for them and not stressful. A lot of parents have been calling and expressing their fear of letting their children out of their sight, basically. And we're working on getting the kids ready, getting the teachers ready, getting the school ready, and hopefully it'll all go over well, but we know it'll be quite stressful. Also, a lot of children in our area show symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder and things that are related. So any kids who have, like, I don't know, simple things like ADHD, it's exacerbated by the situation. And kids have a lot of emotional issues that we have to deal with that in a regular school you don't deal with usually. And these are regular kids. They just have abnormal lifestyle, I guess you could say. So we're giving a lot of thought to that now in the school. For the last week, we've been in meetings and getting ready.
We wish you strength during these difficult times, and
Thank you.
hope the ceasefire holds.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Thanks for staying up for us.